This story was written by a Reddit user in the royalty-free horror story section. Something in the woods. I guess I'll start with a background. I'm a 33-year-old female, but this story takes place when I was a teenager, living in a suburb of Chicago. The village I lived in was quiet and middle class. We lived like a mile from the police station. And other than 2 murders and a robbery that had happened like once in a blue moon, 99% of the time, it was a really boring place. Unless you had a car, you were stuck just walking around the park at night with your friends. Kind of boring. Anyway, one night my friend and I decided to go hang out at a park with some guys at like 12 a.m. The night was a bit windy and had a full moon. I even got a kiss that night from the boy that I liked. But the night wasn't just fun and hanging out late. There's a deep forest in the park with a stream and a playground next to it. The same playground we went to with swings and jungle gym columns. There's 2 bridges. One of wood, which everyone uses, and one bridge made of rocks that's rarely used because it's deeper in the forest. These bridges are over the stream, connecting the 2 halves of the forest park area. We hung around on the swings and chatted and just spent the evening together. I'm sitting and just looking around, talking and enjoying the peace and quiet in the moonlight. I have a full view of the forest and the dip of earth that I know leads to the stream. I see something moving over that dip of earth, some dark shape. It looked like it was crawling out of the forest. An arm, then another arm. It pulls itself out of the ditch stream, a figure darker than the surrounding forest. And I'm just sitting there, frozen. I think I'm seeing things. It just kind of lays there, on the ground, but doesn't move. A flash of fear grips me. What if it comes this way? I look to my friends, and no one has noticed anything. I look back, and it's gone. Did it go back into the woods? Or go somewhere else? I really wanted to get out of there. Then out of nowhere, one friend asks, "Did you guys hear about the urban legend of the rock bridge over the stream? Apparently some kids or something played on the bridge and fell over and died." What a thing to say after what I had seen. But I didn't ask anyone anything, and just pretended I didn't see anything. But the experience stuck with me. I never talked about it, because I often wonder if it was just my imagination. Things like that happen only in scary movies, right? But I rarely went to the park after that. And I hope that I never see that black shadow again. Who knows what would have happened if it had seen me while I was watching it. The Tenant. It was moving day. We had packed up the U-Haul, drove 2 hours, and pulled into the parking lot of our new apartment building. As my wife and son began taking things out of the vehicle and setting them into the parking spot next to us, I ran ahead upstairs to unlock the door and check on things. The apartment was super clean. It smelled a little musty, but probably because no one had been there in a while. But I could tell that they had cleaned it up nice for us. As I head to one of the back rooms, I'm startled as I run face to face into another man. "Oh, excuse me," he said. "I didn't mean to startle you." "Hi," I said. That's all right. Who are you exactly?" I asked him. "My name's John. I'm the previous tenant. I just forgot something. But don't worry. I'll be out of your hair in just a minute." "Okay, that's fine," I said. He grabbed what looked like a pair of keys and headed out the door. At the time, I didn't think much of it, except for the odd fact that I had to unlock the door, and he was in there with the door locked. Strange that he would lock himself in if he was just grabbing the keys. I didn't think about at the time how normally a previous tenant would be long gone before the new one moves in. So it was a little strange that he was still on the property, but again, I was just excited to be moving in. As I walked back downstairs, I met the landlord. He asked if everything looked okay, and I said it was fine, and I said the key works good, and he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, the door was locked, so I stuck the key in and unlocked it." I thought it was kind of a dumb question, but again, whatever. The landlord looked at me funny. "I know that sounds like a dumb question, but I didn't lock the door." "Oh," I said, "well, I think maybe the previous tenant, when he went in to grab his keys, accidentally locked it because I ran into him just a few minutes ago." The landlord shook his head. No, the previous tenant hasn't lived here in over 8 months. "Really?" I said. "Yes. Unfortunately, He slipped and fell down these stairs and hit his head really hard and passed away. Don't worry, he didn't die in the apartment or anything. He just slipped and fell and hit his head. I was severely creeped out. I could understand where he was coming from. I suppose if the previous tenant didn't literally die inside the apartment, maybe they don't have to tell you that. I don't really know how that works, but it still felt very strange to me. And when I asked my wife if she had seen anyone come down the stairs since I had been up there, she said no. So I can only conclude that I ran into the previous tenant, who had not been a tenant for a very long time. In fact, he hadn't been flesh and blood in a very long